How to tap the one unfair but 100% legal shortcut almost every rich, respected guru uses to fatten their account, but forgets to tell you about. You don't even need the Forex market anymore. Just this one almost unknown type of investment the successful usually keep to themselves.
Hi, I'm Adam, and no matter how many friends it costs me in the investing guru crowd, in the next few minutes, I'm going to expose and demolish the biggest and most destructive myth about making money in the markets, and how shattering this myth, the same one that holds most newbies back for years, took me from beginner to $181,990 in just one quick month. Plus, the unique advantage you have in 2013 and beyond that makes fast success even easier now than it's ever been in the past, once you've grasped this one oddball twist. Before you jump to conclusions, this has nothing to do with overhyped Forex loopholes, push-button EA robot software, or some overwhelming empire-in-a-box investor training course you'd need to quit whatever life you have now just to sit through. In fact, you'll see exactly how I sneaked in the still open back door to stupidly profitable trading that looks nothing like what the usual crew of Forex or stock gurus talk about publicly. And by the end of this short presentation, which won't be up for long, you'll feel like you've purged your brain of any last stubborn doubts so you can watch your profits take off like a short-fused rocket. No matter what's held you back in the past, or how many systems you've tried, no matter how little time or money you've got to get started, and no matter how flat out impossible it might seem right now for you to make even your first dollar. Who the heck am I to promise you all this? And why should you even listen to a word I say? My name is Adam Taylor, and as humiliating as it is to admit, I've spent more of my life in crushing debt than crushing it. I'm not an A-list finance guru with a ton of name recognition, and unless you've been one of the few people who's filled a seat at one of the rare private seminars I've given about this system and never taped or talked about afterward, there's almost no way you could have heard of me. Now that's no coincidence either, because before I started pulling down results like these every month, I was flat broke. Burnt out and so down on myself, if you told me I'd be making a six-figure, then seven-figure income in the markets, I'd have looked at you funny and slowly backed away. I was stuck in a pressure cooker corporate job at an investment firm that paid well, but the stress was literally killing me. If you think your job's cutthroat competitive, my job title was headhunter. My wife and I had our first child on the way, and even though I desperately wanted to quit and do something that I loved, something that would let me control my own income and be independent, it took being rushed to the hospital with severe chest pains to finally force me to find a new way to make a living, or pay the consequences. I'll never forget it. It was January 2008, and as my wife sat nervously outside the room, holding our one-month-old child, the doctor told me I was suffering from extreme stress. I could either make changes now, he said, or risk something even worse. It's funny how fast you can go from feeling in control to wondering what hit you, isn't it? Thinking back on that time isn't easy, and most of the time I don't, because for the past few years, I've had more good fortune than I can say grace over. Travel on a whim to places like Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Hong Kong, China, the Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, just to name a few. A 6-bedroom house on a championship golf course. You get the picture. And I'm not saying that to brag. In fact, all the success I've had is almost embarrassing because it all came out of one dumb luck discovery. No genius or innovation on my part. No special knowledge. No ninja tech breakthrough. Nothing. Yet it didn't happen right away. I like to say it took me about 2 years to become an overnight success. And in between, I went through my $1 million hard drive stage where I was buying just about every bit of information about trading I could possibly get my hands on. Even the get-rich-quick type programs advertised online or on late-night infomercials. You name it, I bought it. When I finally made my big discovery, my situation changed. From wondering what the heck I could do to waking up and doing basically whatever I want. So fast that at first I thought I must be doing something wrong and feared it would all come crashing down, just like my last job. But it didn't. And now that I know the system like the back of my hand, and I get emails like this almost daily from students I've coached to mimic my success, it reminds me that if you're like a lot of people getting started trading, you might have fallen for a dangerous myth. The same myth I busted almost by accident, but almost never gets talked about. The myth that says to make it in Forex, you need to trade the Forex market. I know, it sounds obvious, but it's completely wrong. And here's why. There is a second way to invest in the Forex market that takes an end run around many of the most frustrating obstacles that sink new traders, and that yields far higher profits with far less risk. You may have heard about this before without knowing how powerful it could be. Options. Now, before we get to the specific discovery that's allowed me to take over $181,990 out of the market every single month since I stumbled across it, let me briefly explain options in plain English so you know exactly what you're getting into. And to avoid confusion, let me explain how these options work in terms of stocks rather than the Forex market to start with. It's simply because I've found it's easier to grasp this way. Okay, first of all, there are two basic kinds of options: calls and puts. If you think a stock is going to go up in value soon, you can buy a call option that gives you the right to buy that stock at a specific price by a specific date in the future. For instance, if you thought that stock A was going to go up from $10 to $15 per share, you could buy a call option to purchase 100 shares of stock A at $12 anytime by a certain future date. Now, if the stock never increased in value to $12 during that time, your call option would expire, worthless, and you would lose the money you invested to buy it. But if stock A did hit $12 and then went even higher, then your call option would increase in value. Say it went up to $15. You can now sell your option to someone else who can now buy stock A for $12 when it's selling for $15. What a bargain, right? And a nice profit for you. Well, the same goes for the second kind of options, put options. Say you expect stock B to go down in the near future, that it's going to go from $20 down to $15. You could buy a put option to sell 100 shares of stock B anytime up to a certain date at $18. Now, if the stock never dropped to $18, your option would again expire, worthless, and you'd lose the money you invested in the put. Yet, if the stock did go down lower than $18, let's say $15, you could now sell your option to someone else who could purchase stock B for the now terrific bargain price of $15 and sell it for $18. Even better. Unlike straight out buying the stock, controlling an option only costs you a fraction of the price, so that you can benefit from what I call super leverage, to bank huge profits from a small investment using other people's money. That also means you can generate incredible gains even from relatively tiny movements in the price of a stock. And here's where it gets really exciting. My big break came when I realized you can put this same option strategy to work in the Forex market to make job-killing profits even from small changes in the price of foreign currencies. In fact, it works even better in the Forex market than in the stock market because you can profit again and again by trading options on the movement of the same currency pairs, like the US dollar and the British pound. These currency pairs are constantly changing in price, and because big banks and corporations need to trade on these currencies daily, Monday through Friday, the trading volume and its potential profit is always enormous. And here's the best part. By tapping into a little-known investment known as binary options, you can enjoy all the benefits of super leverage and other people's money for huge gains when the market goes your way, and minimal losses when you lose. Here's the thing. You've probably seen some investment gurus promise you some system or robot that delivers winning trades 100% of the time. And as you've probably already guessed or learned the hard way, there's simply no such thing as a strategy that wins every time. My personal strategy, and the practically automated method I use to put into action that you'll see in just a moment, wins better than 90% of the time. Even on the rare occasions when I lose a trade, my losses are never enough to eat away at my gains. Here's why. Take traditional Forex trading, the way the gurus say to do it. You go from system to system, software to software, and just when you think you finally hit on a winning formula, just when you're finally racking up a streak of winning trades and you think you've made it, that's when it hits you. The account-wrecking losing trade that blows up your account faster than you or your loss-proof software can possibly see it coming. I've seen this again and again with newbie and even experienced Forex traders. And no matter how slick the system is or how sophisticated the software, you need to know. There's just no way around it. It's a fundamental flaw that you can never escape as long as you're forced to trade the Forex market directly. Sure, you can win big, but chances are someday soon you'll lose even bigger. Binary options, on the other hand, are perfectly named because when you made a bet on a trade, only one of two things can happen. Either the trade goes your way and you collect the win, or, much less often, it goes against you and you only lose the amount you spent to lock in the option. And this means you can still bank big profits while strictly limiting your losses to make sure you stay ahead of the game without having to worry about one disastrous trade wiping out your gains. Basically, you're getting all of the benefits of leverage without the usual risks. So, why aren't you hearing about binary options from every Forex guru on the internet? If this is so great, why is this the first time you're hearing about it? Well, as I hinted at before, for years now, options have been one of the least talked about investments outside the close-knit circles of the super rich. In fact, in the past, the government has tried to regulate who can trade options and limit them only to the already wealthy. Binary options are leading a fresh new trend that's allowing average investors who want extraordinary gains without extraordinary risk to finally cash in. And that's why I'm so excited to share a practically automated system called Binary Cash Bot with you right now. Binary Cash Bot takes advantage of the huge profit potential in binary currency options by focusing in on the one indicator that's proven the most profitable options profit signal. And again, this is a term you may have heard before without realizing just how powerful it could be. Price action. Price action simply refers to the up and down patterns of a currency pair as it trades during the day. In other words, we're looking at nothing except the chart of the price rising and falling. No news, no rumors, nothing else gets in the way. It's no secret that price action has been the go-to unfair advantage for many of the world's wealthiest investors. And when you apply this signal to binary currency options, where speed is king, pulling in profits like these on a daily basis is no longer a mystery. Instead, it's almost automatic. Now, before we go any further, I just want to provide the ultimate proof by logging in here live to one of my accounts on video while you watch. Today I will show you my account on EasyTrader platform. So, you can see that we're on the website EasyTrader.com. In order to get to my account, I need to enter my email and password. Now we press login. Now, in the upper right corner, you can see that this is my account with the current balance of $56,925, almost $57,000. I started 3 months ago with the sum of $17,000. Let's view my transaction history. To do this, we need to move to the My Trades section. As you can see, I have no open transactions at the moment. To view all the closed transactions, we need to click All Trades. So, you can see that the last transaction was opened on November 29th, i.e. today. In this section, you can view all of my closed transactions. By default, they are ordered from the most recent to the oldest ones. It is obvious that most of the transactions are closed in the money. I mainly trade currency pairs. However, sometimes I make transactions on commodities and indices as well, when I see a good and clear signal from my indicators. You can see transactions on S&P, DAX, FTSE indices. Sometimes even crude oil comes across. In this list, you can see all my transactions from September 5th, 2012. Let me remind you that I started with about $17,000, so I gained about $40,000 for 3 months, which comes to more than 200%, and that's just one of my accounts. I think this is vivid proof that my methods work and that you can really make a lot of money on binary options, and you can do it really quickly. And for those who doubted me, here's a signed letter from the CEO of my broker. Still, the one problem with price action is that it's a bit technical. If you're not an experienced trader, and even if you are, The fact is that 99% of traders simply cannot do all the calculations fast enough by hand to make consistently profitable binary trades. In order for this to work, you need to be able to get into and out of trades as quickly as you can click your mouse without having to stop and think or pause to do research or even whip out a calculator. That is why I've spent the last year creating a simple, practically automatic piece of software that sits on your desktop using the classic Forex MT4 platform and feeds you instant alerts, telling you exactly when to get into a trade and when to get out. In other words, Binary Cashbot monitors and crunches the numbers to stay on top of the price action so you don't have to. All you need to do is point and click. And if you're wondering why it's not 100% automated like the Forex robots you're used to seeing online, there's one more big myth I need to bust before I tell you how to get started with this. And that is, just like there's no such thing as an investing system that works 100% of the time, there's simply no such thing as a 100% automated piece of software that gives you the control you deserve over your own money. Think about it. Do you really want some software tool automatically making trades with your hard-earned money that you can't take back, good or bad? I certainly wouldn't, and you shouldn't either. Especially because you don't need 100% automation to make enough profits to hit even your most ambitious earnings goals. Once you have a true price action signal to work with, the signal that's built directly into Binary Cashbot, you only need as little as an hour a day to generate more income than 90% of Forex traders, even experienced pros, ever achieve. Even if you're brand new to the markets, stink at math, and have very little money to get started, you can trade any time since currencies are traded 24 hours a day. And again, all you need to do is simply react to the ping you receive in your desktop software, or by email if you prefer, and place the trade or not if you prefer. Everything is 100% in your control, not the software's. Binary Cashbot is the first and only price action binary option system ever developed. And I can't wait for you to experience this new level of trading for yourself, especially if you've been frustrated or almost quit trading in the past. And all it takes is one simple step, risk-free, right now, to get started. Let me ask you, when you look back years from now, how are you going to feel about what you did this month, this year, to finally become a successful trader? How are you going to feel if you could have skipped the overwhelming information overload and frustration by getting everything you needed at the push of a few buttons, but didn't? Looking back, if you chose to do it the hard way, how much would getting back all that time and wasted cash be worth to you? The regular price of everything included with Binary Cashbot is just $147 per month. Less than you'd pay for a single hour of my programmer's time if you tried to develop a trading solution like this on your own. But if you act right now, while this video is up, you can grab access to the full system for just one payment of $47. All you have to do to get started is click the big Add to Cart below this video. You'll have instant access to everything I've described, and even though you do need to take action right now to avoid missing out, you don't need to tell me yes right away. Just maybe. Because I'm putting all the risk where it belongs. Right on my shoulders. Download Binary Cashbot right now. Use it to make as many successful trades as you want for a full 60 days, and only then decide. If for any reason you're anything less than blown away with the results you're getting, I insist that you accept a 100% refund of every penny you paid. No hassles, no questions asked. All you have to do to get instant access to everything is click the big Add to Cart button below this video. The bottom line is, you've got a really simple choice to make. Option 1, do nothing. Keep going with what you did in 2012 and keep being frustrated and risk things getting worse or even giving up in 2013 because you didn't take action. Option 2, try to wing it by slapping together your own system and figuring it all out by yourself. Now, you can try this. But as you've seen, the chances of getting it wrong and ending up more frustrated and broke than ever are huge. Option 3, risk nothing today. Grab the full done-for-you Binary Cashbot system for a guaranteed price of just $47 and get in line to be yet another of the incredible success stories you've seen in this video. All you have to do to get instant access to everything is click the big Add to Cart button below. And before you know it, you'll be meeting me on the inside.